Hey everybody, it is Mattie here with Altcoin Buzz with you on this Sunday. Hope you're having a terrific one and a fantastic weekend so far. We're looking at a handful of stories today from a bunch of different perspectives actually, and we're going to have to go through them somewhat rapid fire. Here we have the Wall Street Journal, which is rightfully calling out some of the scammers and some of the hucksters in the ICO space. We're going to let you know about a report that they have put together. We have news about eToro, which is no longer supporting Bitcoin SV. In fact, they're offering $92 per token as a refund. That's their new policy. We're taking a look by way of CCN at Wells Fargo and some of their hypocrisy, talking about how Bitcoin is too risky for their clients. But then we'll take a look, courtesy of a very astute Twitter account, at all the ways that they have shafted their own clients. So forget about risky, because they're not exactly in the game of avoiding riskiness when it comes to what's good for their clients. We'll take a look and back that up specifically. But let's begin, as always, on altcoinbuzz.io with this quick piece by Luke. Huobi Group launching EOS-focused crypto exchange in the first quarter of 2019. An interesting announcement yesterday came from Huobi. Huobi Pool specifically, which is their cryptocurrency mining arm. They announced that they will launch a cryptocurrency exchange in the first quarter of the new year. The exchange will be dedicated to EOS and therefore has EOS as a base pair. Huobi's new cryptocurrency exchange will be using EOS as a base currency, allowing users to trade EOS against a number of other cryptocurrencies on the platform. The CEO of Huobi Pool, Cao Fei, said the following, quote, "As an EOS supernode, Huobi Pool has placed its ecological development high on its list of priorities. Launching this EOS exchange is simply the next logical step in our support." You all can read about the details here in Luke's article. Leave us a comment with your thoughts about this situation. At the time of this recording, EOS is up about 1.2% over the last 24 hours, and it's up just under 1% over the last 7 days, with the unit price of $2.60 American. You can also read about this development specifically on prnewswire.com. Huobi Group to launch the first EOS exchange. And in other quick news, you have the Wall Street Journal, which is rightfully calling out all of the fraudsters in the ICO space, or at least some of them. They've gone ahead and listed 513 ICOs that do not have unique white papers of their own. So it is well known that in 2017 and 2018, these were really the years of ICOs. Startups raised more than $14 billion this year alone through initial coin offerings. But now, a report from the Wall Street Journal shows that out of 3,291 ICOs, a full 513 of them don't have unique white papers. So as the journal points out, a big problem with ICOs is that a vast number of them are scams or scam-like projects. Furthermore, a lot of tokens sold are actual securities, meaning that they violate U.S. securities law, forcing the Securities and Exchange Commission to take action. And as we just mentioned, out of those 3,291 ICOs, you had a full 513 of them that are very risky or outright scam projects, according to this particular report. So as per the Wall Street Journal, 16% of the projects reviewed are potential scams and need further investigation. During the review, white papers were reviewed for plagiarism and their originality. Specifically, those projects that triggered a, quote, very high level of suspicion were AdPerks, Acrocoin, AlphaBit, Amor, Apay, BBN Coin, Battleball, and Beck Sang. If you want to take a look at the full report, of course, there's a lot more information than we're able to dive into right now, but you can check it out here on WSJWallStreetJournal.com. A flood of questionable cryptocurrency offerings. Search for hundreds of projects showing signs of plagiarism, identity theft, and promises of improbable returns. I don't really consider this FUD. I mean, maybe you can disagree with me. Of course, you're free to do so. And if that's the case, please tell me about it in the comments below. But I think this is more traditional journalism. This is actually kind of digging through the weeds and doing due diligence. So I'm not bothered at all. If they've pointed out those 513 as being very suspect, as being illegitimate, then hey, I think that's a good thing for the space, and they're right to call out those shady projects if and where they do exist. So check it out. Let us know what you think about this particular development. In other news here by Luke as well, eToro, not supporting Bitcoin SV, offers $92 per token as a refund. So this is bad news for Craig Wright, as Luke says, as eToro has announced that the platform will not support Bitcoin SV. With the decision not to list Bitcoin SV, eToro seems to have picked a side in the Bitcoin Cash fork fiasco. So this was published on the eToro website. If you're not familiar with that, it's a popular social trading platform and offers users now $92 for every token they had at the moment of the hard fork. The statement from eToro read as follows: although we are not obliged to support forks, we are happy to announce that we decided to credit eToro clients who held long buy non-leveraged positions on November 15th, 2018. We are in the process of crediting relevant user accounts with the dollar value of Bitcoin Cash SV coins at the price of USD 92 multiplied by the number of Bitcoin Cash units held at the time of the fork. The price was determined by the price of Bitcoin Cash SV available to eToro at the time the credit was processed by us. So as Luke pointed out, this is really just the latest company that has now forced to take a side in this whole Bitcoin Cash fork fiasco. eToro here has come down pretty cleanly, pretty definitively. We can see where their allegiances lie. If you've not checked out the original press releases by them, you can do so here. eToro team had the following to say. We just summarized it, but you can take a look here for the full announcement. Perhaps avail yourself of that refund if you're eligible, if you're an eToro user. And if there's anything else about this story that develops, of course, we're going to let you know as the information becomes available. And finally, today we're taking a look at some hypocrisy out of Wells Fargo, as pointed out by CCN. Wells Fargo says Bitcoin is too risky for clients, but pays $575 million fine for scamming them, for scamming their own clients. So what is this all about? Well, Wells Fargo is the third largest US bank with $2 trillion in assets, and it's going to pay $575 million in settlements after admitting that it systematically scammed its own customers for 15 years. Ironically, the fine comes just months after the banking giant dismissed Bitcoin as too risky an investment. So this is a pretty wide-ranging scam. The fines here are in relation to activities by Wells Fargo that occurred between 2002 and 2017. The bank then illegally charged its clients for various financial services products they never signed up for, such as life insurance policies and collateral protection insurance on millions of auto loans. Employees claimed they engaged in this widespread fraud because they were afraid to lose their jobs if they didn't meet Wells Fargo's aggressive sales goals. Talk about dishonest business practices. I mean, that is just so unethical. And all this talk that the banks have all the time about what's safe, what's not, what's a bad investment, what's going to lose you money. They are actively doing everything they can to take money, to take funds out of your own pockets. This was a fantastic little summary graphic here. We're going to go to Barry Ritholtz here on Twitter for the full thing. Wells Fargo to pay states about $575 million to settle customer harm claims. Latest settlement covers retail sales practices and auto loan mortgage charges. Check out the graphic here if you really want to go through all the different ways and a breakdown of why they owe $185 million here, $24 million there, $480 million here, and $2.1 billion there. You can take a look at this fantastic graphic, which we're going to share in the description below. Let us know what you think about this, whether you're as annoyed by the hypocrisy as I am, or maybe am I just not seeing things clearly? Do I have a bias of my own? Not sure. It's possible, but let us know what you think about that in the comments below. You can also read about it here, going back to the Wall Street Journal. Wells Fargo to pay states about $575 million to settle customer harm claims. It goes back to something that Altcoin Buzz tweeted just the other day. People who cause FUD about Bitcoin are the ones who, number one, they want to buy it cheaper. Number two, they don't understand it and don't like others to make money. Number three, they've forked it or invested in a fork of it heavily. And number four, and probably most applicable here and most relevant, there are those whose businesses it threatens. Businesses that Bitcoin threatens directly. I think a bank would qualify. So beware and be aware. That's our official advice. And as always, everybody, do be sure for more life-changing advice that you're following Altcoin Buzz and Altcoin Buzz News for the latest. We're also on Facebook and Instagram and Telegram. Check out our last video here if you've not already. Best of luck if you choose to invest. Have a wonderful Sunday, everybody. We'll catch you again on New Year's Eve in our next video. Take care.